Welcome to Plan9Crunch, and we are doing a Plan9Crunch reads for the week today. And the book I've chosen is The Mystery of the Green Ghost. This is part of the Alfred Hitchcock and the Three Investigators series that was popular in the 60s and 70s, and still people love it. There's a Facebook page for it. I recently did one on The Secret of Terror Castle, and I'm a big fan of the Three Investigators, so on Plan9Crunch, you're going to hear him read sometimes. Robert Arthur Jr. was the guy that wrote the early ones, and he wrote this book also. Robert Arthur Jr. was not a hack writer. He had a long, distinguished career of writing mystery and speculative fiction, and he wrote a lot of radio scripts, including The Mysterious Traveler, and he also wrote scripts for Alfred Hitchcock Presents in TV, so he was an esteemed writer. Let me read right now. This book involves a ghost of a man named Matthias Green, and he appears to be haunting his niece and her aunt in the old family homestead. Let me just read from it. We'll start right here. "That was Aunt Lydia," Chang cried, jumping up. "Something's wrong." He ran for the stairs. Bob and Pete automatically followed him, and so did Lee and several other servants who appeared from nowhere. Chang led the way up the stairs and down a hall. At the end of the hall, a door was open. The light was on, and they could see Harold Carlson bending over Miss Green, who lay stretched out in a bed. He was massaging her wrists, and speaking to her urgently. "Aunt Lydia," he said. "Aunt Lydia, can you hear me?" He saw the others. "Lee," he said, "bring Missy's smelling salts." The old Chinese woman scurried into her bathroom and came back with a small bottle. While the others crowded the door, she held the open bottle under Miss Green's nose. After a moment, Miss Green shuddered slightly and opened her eyes. "I've been foolish, haven't I?" she said. "I fainted. Yes, I screamed and fainted. It's the first time in my life I ever fainted." "But what happened, Aunt Lydia?" Chang asked anxiously. "Why did you scream?" "I saw the ghost again," Miss Green said, trying to keep her voice steady. "After I said good night to Harold and entered my room, just before I turned the light, I looked toward that alcove." She pointed to a small alcove near the windows. "And the ghost was standing there, as clear as day. It looked at me with terrible burning eyes. It wore green robes, just as Uncle Matthias used to, and I'm sure it was he, although the face was just a misty blur except for the burning eyes." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "He is angry at me. I know he is. You see, many years ago, my mother promised him that after his death, the mansion in Rocky Beach would be closed and never opened again. She made a solemn vow that neither the house nor the ground it was built on would be sold or disturbed in any way, and I have broken that promise. I agreed to sell the house, and now the body of Uncle Matthias's bride has been disturbed, and he is angry at me." Okay, the three investigators are Jupiter Jones and Pete Crenshaw and Bob Andrews. And the reason I love these books as a kid is I was 12 and 13 reading them, and they were that age. And they had a detective agency in a town called Rocky Beach, which probably is maybe maybe Long Beach or something, some town around that area or city. And their uncle had a salvage yard, and they were able to have their secret headquarters under a bunch of trash and everything. And Alfred Hitchcock was their sponsor, and I'll let you read the first book to figure out how. And they tell him about their cases all the time. And they have, Jupiter won a game where he picked a bunch of gumballs or something like that. It wasn't gumballs, it was something else. And he got to use a chauffeur with a Rolls Royce. And then later, because he helped a wealthy client, he got to use the Rolls Royce. And Worthington was the driver. I just love these books. They're a lot of fun. They're not long reads. And it was very rewarding to me to find out that Robert Arthur Jr., who created the series, was such an esteemed writer. So once again, this is The Mystery of the Green Ghost. It's Plan9Crunch Reads. And that's a wrap.